Hi, Todd Lowry here. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about neoevolution. Neoevolution is when we take our natural processes of evolution and we manipulate them and we seize control of them. We guide and choose how those processes take place. Um, when we're talking about in manipulating DNA or children, not just simply choosing the sex of our children, but looking more to ways we could prevent and cure diseases and make genetic adjustments. We pass these on to our next generation, and that's the whole concept behind neoevolution is that we are able to adopt the attributes we want most. One example of a technology that alters our human evolution is stem cell cloning. As we're able to repair dysfunctional, damaged organs and tissue, we extend life and living tissue that would have naturally been deselected out of the natural selection process. Uh, we are engineering back into our genome the weaker individuals and parts of the individuals that would not have made it and that would be removed through natural processes, slowing, stalling, possibly stopping the evolutionary forces of as nature would have them. Uh, some of the potential benefits of this type of technology immediately or through stem cell cloning are to extend life by replacing and repairing living tissue that's diseased, damaged, and formed incorrectly in the first place, and bioengineering into those cloned stem cells qualities that we'd like to see in the individuals that are born. Um, some potential drawbacks are huge. Cloning adult stem cells has produced a shortened telomeres in the chromosomes, potentially shortening the lifespan of our cloned material, and creates a demand for younger and younger stem cells and going all the way down to embryonic stem cells, which creates ethical disparities between how we harvest and acquire those stem cells, whether they're through embryos that are being aborted or whether they're in clinical or research environments, both of which, are sources that are highly contested politically and ethically. Um, One thing we keep in mind, Harvey Feinberg reminds us in his TED talk, is that first we will not evolve. We've reached a kind of equipoise. An equipoise is sort of a plateauing out where we have sort of stalled the evolutionary process. The reasoning that would be first is we have, through medicine, managed to preserve a lot of genes that would otherwise be selected out and removed from the population, I'm quoting Harvey here. Secondly, as we, as a species, so configure our environments that we've managed to make it adapt to us well as we adapt to it. And by the way, we immigrate and circulate and intermix so much that you can't any longer have the isolation that is necessary for evolution to take place. So, some of the moral and ethical implications of neoevolution, we have a general moral implications of neoevolution, like the disruptions in the natural adaptive processes, the introduction of unsustainable means such as laboratory interventions and reproductive cycles that may not be repeatable in the absence of technology. Um, Something on a grander scale is the liabilities in maintaining unforeseen events. So let's say you have a lab that's manipulating stem cells, and then some natural disaster happens, and then or some social disaster happens. Well, it affects the technology that could affect us environmentally and in the natural processes of evolutionary change. In other words, not being able to fix what we produce. When we look at it in sort of neo-evolution, I mean, we see other technologies that affect it, sort of natural processes. Look at the Gulf oil spill that we had and how we had the technology to go down and drill that deep, but we didn't have the technology to stop it if it starts leaking, which totally affected the biosphere of the Gulf in huge ways that are irreparable. Um, should we continue to pursue this form of technology? I believe we have a duty to pursue it and to take safety and accountability into effect with that. Some of the constraints that sort of naturally emerge from those processes, it seems conceivable that some of the resistance we have politically and scientifically and otherwise, especially with the advancements of stem cell cloning and subsequent benefits that would arise, but they provide sort of a check and balance to some degree. As we have to overcome those safety issues and ethical issues, it sort of slows down the rapid advancement of it, but at the same time, it allows us to responsibly move forward. And so I think that, the benefits of extending life seem paramount as life continues to adapt itself. It includes harmful aspects of it. Life is full of harmful aspects like diseases. And so I think our efforts to try to, give ourselves an advantage, it actually in itself is a way of surviving. So, if there's anything to survival of the fittest, it doesn't necessarily have to be physically. It can be mentally as well. So, we have new, resistance. For example, we have resistances in antibiotics and strains of organisms that gain through mutation, and it's not really keeping up with their advancements in our new antibiotics as we create them. And so there's another means of this provides another means of adapting to this stagnation of our antibiotic creation. But yes, we're controlling and manipulating the natural selection process, and it is coming to an equipoise, which is a plateau of sort. It does reduce the isolation, and I can see that our ability to manipulate living processes is to our advantage for the longevity of surviving, and it becomes really sort of a vehicle for us being the fittest. And it may be that we're more fit mentally than we are physically. I can also see it as being relatively temporary. So while right now and maybe in the last 100 years we've doubled our life expectancy, we're just one major cataclysmic event away from being returned to the Stone Age. And it's not just, before some act of space or science or nature or our own synthesis that would interrupt our advancements and return us to that Stone Age, or worse. I think while we can, if at all that we can, by all means, we should advance as long as we can. And that's a wrap. I'll just leave you on this one final note. Harvey Feinberg really resonated with me with. He says, evolution favors those creatures best adapted to their environments. Well, it's been nice chatting with you, and I hope you enjoy this, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.